everyone, Pineapple here with the next 2 episodes in Wednesday, Season 2, Part 1, Episodes 3 and 4. Last time was a little disappointing. Agnes is fun even if her story could have been used better, Bruno is a non-factor, Tyler needs a shirt, and Wednesday is investigating now 2 murders, a bird-controlling avian seeming to be the culprit. Bianca's story is about to take a heel turn, making her initial actions feel consequenceless, and Pugsley and the out-of-character Eugene have their own fairly boring story arc that seems to be steadily losing interest since Tim Burton's animation. Let's hope the story feels better put together in episode 3. We start Call of the Woe with the Addams treating Thing for his birthday. The family are ashamed of missing the event, showing a nice sense of family that this show often muddies. Morticia confirms she contacted her mother, and as the couple dance, Wednesday takes the chance to sneak in for Goody's book, only for Morticia to have anticipated her. Wednesday tries to convince Morticia to give her the book back, but even talking about Enid's death doesn't sway her. Morticia making the good point that the visions are up to interpretation, something this show is never good at communicating, since Wednesday's visions have an almost clear success rate. And her vision was quite explicit in showing Enid's grave and her ghost literally screaming it's Wednesday's fault. If you wanted room for doubt, there would have been a million better ways to frame her visions. Morticia once again teases Ophelia's dwindled condition, and the next day the school is getting ready for a camping trip. Enid freaks out about her outfits and her boyfriends, Wednesday getting her out of the way by implying Davina has Enid's missing clothing, that had in fact been taken by Agnes, who, thanks to hiding, already knows of Enid's possible death. That's not concerning at all, but also fuck you for mentioning Davina when you threw her and Yoko out.
How dare you stand where he stood?
Slurp is starting to regrow, and Wednesday is fairly sick of Agnes, going to Galpin's funeral and our only look in town this part, joined by Santiago and Fairburn, watched by the avian. Fairburn claiming no avians are at Willow Hill, which will kind of seem not only like a lie on the doctor's side, but the patient's side as well. But I'll be honest, even with Judy talking about Fairburn next episode in her villain monologue, I'm still not sure if she was part of the villainous plot or not. We get to see Bianca's backstory now, as she uses her powers to meet her mother at an inn. Hey, remember last season when she was all sensitive and had trauma about using her powers, only really doing so at the end when the student body was in danger? I miss characterization like that. Wow, I'm not sure if it's the online discourse or just the day I'm writing this, but I'm being far more critical right now. Bianca's mum has run away from her cult, the leader having escaped and Bianca's mum taking a full 180 between seasons, going from leveraging against Bianca to force her to use her song for the cult, to being all her to needing Bianca's help to stay safe. Just like the Ajax plot, these storylines would be at least twice as compelling if we got to see the evolution instead of it happening off screen. Also, after some googling, I can't find the name of the actor portraying Gideon here, so with his anti-siren watch, is Dort going to be Gideon with some plastic surgery or some shit? Both are older men who use sirens to get cash. It'd be a hell of a coincidence if unrelated. Wednesday is stumped, so decides to use Agnes and her shapeshifter friend to unlock Galpin's phone, finding the location of the investigator's information fairly easily, and realizes to get to Galpin's cabin she'll need to go camping. Enid is psyched, making sure to get diabetes in a cup for the road, but is confronted by her boys, once again ditching them for a woman. First Capri, since the camp is on the full moon, and then Wednesday, getting all jealous over Agnes again, who is assisting full-time now that Wednesday is keeping a distance from Enid. And sure, Agnes is legitimately crazy, but the moments where Agnes disciplines herself for disappointing Wednesday are actually sadly endearing. Sure, I'm hoping Bruno is evil so he has something worthwhile to add, but now I kinda want Agnes to just be a weirdo so she'll stick around for next season. We go through a mind-numbing driving montage arriving at camp. Wednesday suspicious of the way Pugsley is smuggling Slurp in. Once again, not even talking to Eugene. Did they interact at all this season? You know, the character she felt such guilt for and was kind of like a substitute little brother figure. The Addams arrive at the camp to help out, and not gonna lie, Morticia with braids like Wednesday's makes me uncomfortable. Eugene is pissed Pugsley brought Slurp, and they do the whole awkwardly keeping a secret bit when Gomez comes around. Although I feel like Gomez wouldn't care much as long as Pugsley house trains the zombie. Dort tries to inspire the students, but they're interrupted by a scout regiment, led by Anthony Michael Hall as Ron Kruger, who is not only a horror reference in name, but is also Tom Tommy from Halloween Kills. Turns out the camp is double booked, but Wednesday is quickly sick of the normies challenging them to a fight. The challenge is basically a capture the flag. Each school's team splits in two, one hunting the other's egg, and one saving their own, needing to rescue their egg and get it to the top of the lookout to win. The remaining nightshades, because I guess if they still exist as pointed out by this episode, I guess Davina and Yoko stayed at the school. Yeah, I'm gonna keep complaining about this, they brought it up. Ajax tries to spurn Bruno, but is vetoed by an awkward silence. The scouts are good as one-off comedic villains, but largely aren't three-dimensional enough to last, so they're used fairly well by the show, not overstaying their welcome, but also the perfect class to beef with the Nevermore students. The scouts manage to get their hands on weaponry to negate outcast powers, and Ajax and Kent are left as defenders, being taken out in one of the stupidest ways possible. Newsflash, if you don't want to lock eyes with someone, don't turn around and reach at them. Their egg is taken thanks to team effort, Enid and Bruno looking ridiculous, and an obvious needle drop of Ride of the Valkyries. The normies almost win, but thanks to a zipline, Wednesday wins the day. Also, just an editing room criticism, why do we take the time to see Agnes tell her shapeshifter buddy, "Come on, let's go," only for them to take like 3 paces forward? Wednesday heads off, Dort thanking her but unable to get her to participate further, so she heads off into the dark accompanied by Billy's rendition of Bad Moon Rising, underscored with Ajax's suffering. Seriously girl, let him down already. Wednesday finds clippings of dead Outcast articles all connected to the name Lois, and all of the names are Willow Hill patients. Dort makes things awkward between Bianca and Morticia, and Ajax finally properly confronts Enid. Bruno just walking away without a word. Seriously? Sure, this arc makes me like Ajax a lot more, as I basically had no feelings on him last season, but instead of Enid being torn between boys, she's just been avoiding Ajax, leaving him in limbo. Sure, both bad things to do, but this being the ultimately worse one. At least she comes clean in the moment, telling him she's changed, and with really mid-dialogue tells him she's moving on. Not only is this storyline poorly paced with dodgy dialogue, but it invalidates the queer coding of Enid's storyline, makes her come off worse than she should be by, instead of making her have issues that we see her go through and see her relationship with Ajax maybe turning down, having actual palpable tension between her Ajax and Bruno. At the very minimum, as basic as the love triangle in last season was. And Enid basically ends up showing Bruno off in front of him, but it's all done in service of trying to give Enid a story that doesn't amount to anything more than boy drama done worse than Wednesday's last season. At this rate, Enid should have been mostly written out of the first half, and Ajax given a prominent plot. At least it would feel new and not like a lazy and very poorly done reheated leftover from last season to give Enid a feeling of character growth while barely changing. Her main changes in character being she keeps telling us she's changed, and her hair dye. Ajax ends up feeling like the only one of this love triangle with substance thanks to how the show pushes Enid away. Only able to interact with Wednesday these 2 episodes to show a little bit of fluff or relationship straining.
You remember that day in your eyes heap? I guess squirrels and rats can't work out after all.
At least that callback is nice.
I kinda feel bad for that Corkin.
No way, don't make me agree with these idiots. Wednesday breaks into Morticia's room again, challenging her to a duel for the book. Meanwhile, Slurp escapes thanks to the Scoutmaster, who gets chomped on. Agnes helping with their mess while Wednesday is occupied. Gomez getting a nice comedic, if pretty gross scene with Slurp before Pugsley blows him out of the building for him to escape and wreak havoc. Meanwhile, Morticia and Wednesday's duel is pretty well done, but ends with Morticia winning, Wednesday getting the last swipe by saving Morticia from Slurp, as a classical rendition of Losing My Religion plays, and Slurp is wheeled off to Willow Hill at the same time another patient is transferred, Thornhill. Now, in this scene, Judy seems subservient to Fairburn, so is Judy evil and Fairburn in the dark? It seems that way, but I think a couple of posts online have gaslit me into confusion on this point. A fairly good episode overall, great action comedy, and moves the plot along, but as you could tell with how miserable I was in parts, shows off blatantly some of this season's ineptitudes. Unable to give Enid a better story when they need her separated, Slurp scenes feeling disjointed and interrupting, Bruno, once again, having like 2 lines. Lastly for part 1 is episode 4, If These Woes Could Talk. We pick up where we left off with Fairburn negotiating with Thornhill, attempting to use her to help progress with Tyler along.
I've read your book.
Thornhill's wishes are to stay at Willow Hill and meet Tyler, but all she gets is a face-to-face with some very obvious overacting, but Tyler isn't as receptive to Thornhill as anyone hoped, almost killing the groomer. Back with Wednesday, she searches the remains of those publicised dead outcasts from last episode, helped by her graveyard tycoon Grandmama Frump, played by the second female Doctor actor in this show, Joanna Lumley, giving her a smile much like she did Fester last season. The avian is watching their talk, and Wednesday finds that the remains are humanless, and although Wednesday tries, she is unable to chase down the avian before they escape the scene. Wednesday finds Enid with Bruno with an understandable reaction.
The sooner I get answers, the sooner I can save Enid. Wednesday! Who I currently want to murder.
Finding Agnes watching the makeout sesh like the little freak she is. Bruno once again stopping Enid mid-attacking and locking eyes with the Vanisher. Yeah, another suspicion point right there. Love that the only way I've gotten any measure with Bruno is by making a fucking game out of his plainness. Wednesday gets a letter from a terrified publisher with great delivery from Jenna.
We all love Viper, da-da-da-da-da. You're incredibly difficult to work with, blah, 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 da-da-da-da-da. Regrettably, I must drop you as a writer. Please seek help.
And eating it into the asylum, she gets Fester on board, reprised by Fred Armisen, confirming Aunt Ophelia was in Willow Hill, another piece of the puzzle. Fester is like last season. Most of his antics are funny, but I can easily see his energy and tone being too much for a lot of people. A few jokes from each of his appearances getting like this for me. Fester goes all out, to the inn Bianca's mother is staying in, and makes as much chaos as he can until he's committed. But this also gets Bianca's mum put in custody, and why is she so targeted by this one scrawny cop? Is he a racist? She's just sitting there and he's ready to punch lead through her skull. In order to get revenge on Morticia for the book after she tells Wednesday about Ophelia's tears driving her insane, Wednesday brings Grandmama along and has her give Wednesday the cemetery from before to continue her investigation. Wednesday going overboard on her smile in what I'm convinced is clearly an effort to get under Morticia's skin. Grandmama Frump, with her parenting failures obvious, tries to lecture Morticia, offering donations for Goody's book, only causing Morticia to toss it into the fire, which is a badass move. Bianca is freaking out, needing to get out of school to save her mother from the cops, Ajax stoning all off in return for helping her. Fester gets some more comedic scenes in the asylum and falling in love with a strange lunch lady. It goes on a little too long but is humorous. Agnes finds a connection in Augustus Stoneheart, working at Willow Hill and Nevermore, now a patient. Bruno has one line, and I'm fairly sure won't appear for the rest of the episode, and yeah, he's urging Enid to talk with Wednesday, but that could just be a part of his dastardly plan. Either way, I find it funny that even when Bruno gets lines, most of his relationship with Enid is defined either by avoiding Ajax or her relationship with Wednesday. Enid confronts Wednesday, both of their jealousies interesting to watch, but man, this would all work better if Enid's arc these 3 episodes wasn't so shallow. Wednesday and Enid are attacked by the avian. Wednesday too caught up in protecting Enid that they go after Thing. Dort actually helps by shooting fireballs, kinda cool. And while Wednesday and Morticia don't do shit, that's kind of annoying, Enid jumps to save Thing. Like, seriously? What was Wednesday doing? If she was stopping Enid from taking action, scared of her safety, only for Enid to break free dramatically and save Thing, that'd be cool. Morticia moving like at least one step before Wednesday runs off to chase the avian would also be cool. Why the fuck are they standing there drooling? Wednesday chases the avian through the hidden tunnels, much like the ones Agnes used, and she ends up interrupting Capri and Fairburn. Fairburn a little off, and Capri strangely out of breath and distracted. What the fuck were they doing in this room before the goth turned up? Bianca mind whammies the cops to let her mother go, and Morticia once again tells Wednesday to back off. But like, Morticia is just bitching and whining now. She has no idea if Wednesday is really gonna fuck shit up. First it was the visions that would make Wednesday do the wrong thing, now it's going after someone who attacked their family member. Thing is the wrong thing to do. Kinda getting why Wednesday feels so stuck in her mother's shadow. Grandmama Front was too absent, and Morticia's too overcorrecting. And I don't think has even interacted with Pugsley past the first episode. You have 2 children, woman! Thing sends Fester after Stonehurst, finding him in a big bird cage, kinda communicating through a bird. So, he's an avian? Or is this bird just really opinionated? Wait, Orloff calls him a normie, and Judy said that he wanted to be a Da Vinci. What's the deal with the bird? I mean, they liked birds, so he built his daughter an aviary in a tower. I'm assuming one of the towers in Nevermore. But what's that got to do with this parrot that knows all of his secrets? He's seemingly mute, so how did the parrot learn the secrets? Ajax and Bianca sneak her mother through some ruins, looking to hide her in an old room. Just so happening to go past the headmaster's office through the tunnels, him having a nondescript yet still sketchy phone call. Fester passes Thornhill, so thanks to her, he gets caught before he can get to Lois, ending up locked in a room with Slurp. Thing reporting back using Fester's love as an informant. Wednesday using Agnes as a distraction to get in, and only including Enid as lookout after being guilted into doing so. And boy, the interaction in this scene just makes clear how underused Enid has been. Wednesday's reaction to her questioning their friendship, Agnes looking to Wednesday when Enid asks the question, depending on where her character goes, either looking for an in or a response to cater to. If only the rest of this plot was subtle enough for interpretation like this. Capri is playing in Willow Hill, doing a favour for her girlfriend, I suppose. Wednesday following along, as Agnes commits an act of toilet terrorism, thanks to an inept guard. Capri plays a beautiful rendition of Zombie for the Patients as Wednesday sneaks in and frees Fester, where the lyric Zombie would be sung played over us seeing Slurp. Kinda weird neither Adams questions a fucking zombie, but okay. Slurp allows Thornhill to escape, passing Wednesday, but the goth has bigger fish to fry, getting into the secret room as the alarm is triggered. It turns out Lois is a place, not a person, underneath Willow Hill, an experimental facility housing all the supposedly dead outcasts. Tyler being nearby why Galpin was so interested. Wednesday seems to be more gentle with one woman than the others, and they're confronted by the avian, Judy, Stonehurst's daughter, and look at that, another mystery where Wednesday is accusing everyone but the killer, thinking it's Fairburn. Next season, I'm just going to assume the identity of whoever the mystery foe is whoever Wednesday doesn't suspect. Judy claims she hired Fairburn to be the public face. So once again, does Fairburn know about the unethical experiments, or is she under the impression Judy is her lackey? It's very confusing. Judy claims that the Lois experiment is to take outcast traits and turn normies. Judy once a normie, now an avian. Stonehurst apparently wanting telekinesis and the backlash crippling him. Still doesn't really explain his bird, but go off, I guess. Fester attacks, draining the power from the asylum, freeing the experiments and setting them on Judy to assumedly try and rip her to pieces, but we do see her later, so maybe just escape. Now the Judy plot in itself, while I think it could have been revealed better and had better hints, I liked the outcome. And for how much I hate the part system, I have to admit this reveal doesn't work without the parts pacing-wise. It's cool to be able to tie up one mystery plot in this overstuffed season to give us a feel of closure, even when this season continuing is teased with a cliffhanger at the end. But I can't tell if that was by design, or if like Agnes's stalker reveal, it was just poorly timed. As once again, Agnes's reveal works, and I love having Agnes around, but it does feel like a cheap and nasty way to get the stalker plot out of the way as quickly as possible, so they could focus and then fail on focusing on Enid. As the stalker was the whole cliffhanger between seasons, it feels like there should have been more prominence there. Why I'm so hoping that Agnes and Bruno will have more twists down the line to justify how quickly they've been used in these episodes, or at least for one of them not really able to be used because they're not a character. Wednesday makes sure the woman she's interested in gets out personally, while Slurp eats more people including Fairburn, regenerating more, even able to say hello to Stonehurst before presumably eating him. Thornhill frees Tyler, only to be rewarded with death. Not too sad about that, and while Fester ends his romance plot in a pretty hilarious way, the episode ends with Tyler attacking Wednesday, the goth sending the mystery woman on her way as she confronts the Hyde, only for her to be tossed out of the window and severely injured. Can you believe people still ship Wednesday and Tyler? Like, sure, you can not like Wen Claire, you can want Wednesday to stay single, but this guy's emotionally manipulated her, threatened to kill the people she cares about, let her be stabbed, thrown her out a second-story window, and you still think they should be banging? Get a grip.
No, seriously, get a grip.
Also, why the hell did she just stand there? Sure, maybe she was buying time for the woman, but if that's the case, I would have liked to learn why she's doing that, or why she cares about this random woman. It needs to be better set up. So that was Wednesday, Season 2, Part 1, and Yeah, I liked a lot of things. What little interactions between Wednesday and Enid were good. Agnes was great. I can see myself getting further into where they take Bianca and Ajax. But there is so much here that needs to be well paid off in the next part, or are going to be real black marks on this season. Bruno is useless. His lack of presence infuriating me from a writing standpoint, and the way the narrative is placed around Enid makes her seem like 100 times more of an asshole than she should. If her feelings within her love triangle were explored properly and with a through line from her literal queerness allegory of a character arc last season, most of her character drama is done off screen so the show can pull a Wednesday and push Enid away. Which is extra insulting since Enid and Wednesday's dynamic, whether close in a platonic soulmate or romantic context, is the backbone of the show. Remove either of these two actors or their chemistry and you lose what essence there is left, as it feels like it's slowly draining away, so I'm relying heavily on part 2 of this season to stick the landing and bring greatness to the table in order to justify the narrative, pacing, and character mishandling and mistakes made here. These brutal critiques coming because I want this show to excel. It has in the ratings, but it has a lot of potential the showrunners are refusing to explore, and fuck, I do not want them to touch an Addams Family movie. Do not let them. They've created 4 episodes that are simultaneously overstuffed and bland. I liked these episodes, they're good, I enjoyed watching them, but when I came back to analyze and dissect them, they're just carried by the sets and acting. Good, but far, far from great. Thank you everybody for watching me suffer with these 2 episodes, liking them but simultaneously hating them. Please like the video if you liked it, comment down below if you wish, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, ring the notification bell so that you're told every single time that I make an upload. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next review. Bye!
Toast. A little piece of toast. Because there's so much to choose from. There's brown bread, white bread, all sorts of wholemeal bread. It comes in funny packages with writing on the side.